Mr. Mike from Vampire Freaks and I are on our way to spin Ceremony tonight in Boston, Massachusetts. Essentially, I've been a huge fan of electronic music really since the age of 2. The very first record that my parents bought me was called Flick Theme 72. And in 1972, one of the major releases in America was A Clockwork Orange. And I was 2 years old, and I remember just playing the title theme to A Clockwork Orange over and over and over again. It sounded like bombs falling out of the sky, and that just really set the tone. I fell in love with electronic music, and I fell absolutely in love with feeling everything as viscerally as humanly possible. Music is music is music, but there's a certain level of intensity, there's a certain level of vivid energy that you do not get anywhere else other than the goth industrial scene. I'm originally from New York. I grew up in New York. I worked in Tribeca for the longest time. Obviously coming up, you know, because I'm almost an old fart now, coming up through the 80s and the 90s, exploring new wave and all that shit. You know, I felt kind of like a user. I felt like here I am just going to clubs and being social, but I'm just taking energy. I'm just taking energy from the scene. I really should do something to contribute back to the scene. So I had never DJ'd in my life, and I put together a mixtape. I gave it to DJ Mothra, who runs Ceremony, and Mothra loved it. Mothra absolutely went completely insane and said, all right, well, you're doing a 9 to 10 next week, which caused me to crap my pants because I'd never done anything like that. In fact, the time I showed up to do my first 9 to 10 slot, I'd never seen a mixer other than other DJs using mixers. I didn't know how to cue shit up. You know, I barely knew what a crossfader was and how to properly set levels. And from there, I have to say it was better than sex. And from that 9 to 10 slot, I was completely hooked. I could not get enough, and I still can't get enough. New England's Worst DJs was sparked by a noise kid. Adam Baum and I were cruising around, playing a whole bunch of different clubs in Rhode Island, and really striking onto a new sound. Really taking a lot of places where we've all been together in the goth industrial crowd, and taking some other elements outside of the scene that directly connect to everything you previously felt, but are much more vivid. You know, like taking in just a small section of dubstep or a small section of electro that actually completely directly relates to, say, Depeche Mode or of all things Raised in Black. So, with that in mind, this floor killer DJ who could care less about having fun and who could care less about creating an awesome night if it was anything but about himself, suddenly saw an opportunity to spin one of the clubs that I totally have a residency at, and was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to spinning with you, blah, 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 blah. Totally gave me lip service. And this dude, you know, had been talking shit behind Adam's back and my back. So one of my friends comes up to me and he's like, so, I just want to let you know, Idiot DJ X has totally been talking shit. And it's not just talking shit, he said verbatim, you and Adam are New England's worst DJs. So I called him out. I totally fucking called him out. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, and then he found out that I was a resident. And he sort of apologized, and I was like, all right, fine, whatever. And I went about my, I did my thing. And then I find out through another friend that he's continuing to, like, totally spread shit. So I called him on the phone and had it out with him. And he chickened out, canceled, never showed, and that was that. So Adam and I are New England's worst DJs, and I think this individual also also called Opera Poser. So we got Opera Poser t-shirt. And then, for fun, 2 years later, we totally threw a New England's Worst DJs party, packed ceremony, and made that place dance so hard that the walls and the ceiling were dripping water. First and foremost is the energy of the people who were there. When I see people who are there to have a great time, to connect with something greater than themselves, to share in a fantastic experience, like for me, that will make me overlook a shitty club with a shitty sound system. I'll spin anywhere, man, as long as the energy is really, really cool. I'm there, man. I just want to be part of an awesome party. Lots of people ask me about spinning, lots of people ask me about the basics, and finally, I was like, okay, I'm going to just summarize what it is to DJ, and I'm going to summarize what it is to not DJ. All right, rule number 1, don't be a dick. Rule number 2, no really, don't be a dick. Number 3, red on your levels does not mean turbo. Red on your levels does not mean awesome, all right? Don't fucking clip, you know, or feel free. You're just gonna make me sound so much fucking better. And it's like proper etiquette. Gear yourself to the goals you want to achieve. Turning around and dropping Dusty Springfield, if it's not a Dusty Springfield night, is not going to, you know, result in people, you know, jumping up and down for Dusty Springfield when they want to hear Covenant. And this list grew to like 70 or 80 bullets. DJ Rex in London, who I work with, totally reposted them in his magazine online. It's gotten some notoriety. No matter where, you know, no matter where you go, there you are.
Yeah.
All right. B is barring sickness or some other horrific catastrophe.
Right.
There's really nothing stopping you. You know, there really isn't. There's no man in black twirling a wax mustache, you know, lashing you down to the train.
Right.
You know, there's nobody turning around and physically stopping you from accomplishing anything that you really want to. It all boils down to self. Like I didn't DJ till 7 years ago, man. You know, I didn't do anything really. You know, I fucked around with music, but I didn't jump into it thinking I'd be a success. I jumped into it because it was something I loved, and I was willing to put in the work. And at the same time, it was like I'd see something beautiful happen, or I'd see someone dance amazing, and I was like, I really want to be a part of that. And it just caused me to reach as hard as I could. And I really think that when you reach for something, the universe listens and returns the energy in favor.